BPS about career. This is an initiative we had undertaken as part of the larger vision to aware and educate the students from Assam and Northeast about the different aspects of the revolution which is happening in terms of education and technology, and how each of the students can develop the best career out of this. And since CUET exam is very near and all the students around the country are preparing for such a huge exam, not only in terms of competition but also in terms of opportunities. So we thought that it's the right time to talk about something called as national education policy, which is being actually adopted by a lot of universities and lot of colleges across the country in the UG level, and how this new policy will help students in colleges avail the best of the opportunities in career. But before moving forward, let me introduce you to my co-host Shradha Jitani, who is a subject matter expert in legal studies and who will enlighten us today on this matter. Hi Shradha,
Hello, Shyana.
welcome to the ABC show.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Well, first of all, I can see that you're wearing a white top, and I'm
Yes,
also wearing the white
I can
top.
see
So it's
that.
a white day for both of us,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, Shraddha. But first, let me tell you, the ABC show, which is Ask BPS About Career. So this show we had taken as an initiative to educate and aware the students regarding different opportunities which is there in terms of the career, right? So today we have picked a topic called National Education Policy, and you must be aware that the National Education Policy is in fact is in fact a revolutionary in terms of the education and in terms of the opportunities which it can bring to this country, right? So before letting this, but first tell us how are things going, and how is your work. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay. Thank you so much, Shyana, for such a beautiful introduction. Well, as you have already introduced me with my name, so my name is Shradha Jitani Saraf. I recently got married and I completed my master's, and I have been a practicing advocate in the Guwahati High Court, and I'm also helping my husband, who is a chartered accountant, with his legal matters. So that's it about me.
Okay, Shraddha. So okay, Shraddha, but first, since today we are specifically only talking about national education policy, so I must ask you, what is your opinion on the national education policy? What do you think about it?
I think the new education policy, which was introduced in the year 2020 and which is supposed to be implemented this year, is going to be a very pragmatic and holistic approach. I mean, I have very positive expectations from it because, see, it's just a decade back. I pass out my school life, so I did my school life entirely in a traditional way. The school Monday to Thursday periods, Fridays a work experience and sports day, and Saturdays is half day, and Sunday is the chutti. So now, when I see the policy, like the Northeast, sorry, the new education policy, the way it has been structured, the curriculums, the combinations of subjects, which it is going to implement, it is going to implement, is very fantastic. I think it's this this customization and credit system of education is going to give a very fantastic outcome for a country like India.
Okay, so you think that it is actually very good in terms of the
Yeah,
something that that they are introducing something very revolutionary, right?
yeah.
So, as I was saying that even when I was undergoing my schooling, I have also been under the traditional system, and I have out of interest I started studying in for humanities when I went to the college. But I have noticed that people started that. That people eventually start commenting on you and saying that you belong to the humanity section and you know nothing about it. But me belonging to the humanity section doesn't mean that I don't know anything about science or maths, right? So I think the national education policy will actually change this perspective a lot, and a
Actually.
lot of students today can avail all the opportunities. They can take from science also, they can take from arts also. So I think it's a very good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, Shraddha, a few weeks back, actually, I was reading an article by a person. I exactly don't remember the name of the author, but he was describing the very deplorable state of education affairs in this country. Like he was saying that many of the universities today are functioning without a proper VC. That there are a lot of budgetary cuts in many of the government schools, and also we know that there are a lot of dropouts during the pandemic. So, how do you think, how long will the country take to actually implement such a very, very good policy? So, how long do you think that such a nationwide implementation would take?
I think, China, to give you an exact duration of time that by this time this policy would be implemented well, and it will start working and give us productive results, is going to be very fictitious. Rather, I would say that we see that in our country, for example, the Abdul Kalam Technical University, which is in Kerala, has no permanent VC till date. And at the same time, JNU worked for a long time without the head of the university, and the process of hiring this heads, and the legislations and the entire internal work process itself is quite lengthy. So all these things, and the shift towards, because see, we the teachers who taught us, or the teachers who are still teaching in schools and colleges, they themselves have always studied in a traditional way. Apart from it, post their education, they have also been teaching in a traditional way to all the students. So it's not easy for them just to just to work with the new education policy over a night. It also, they also need awareness trainings. The government has to make them understand, that there has to be clarity among them, that what is this new education policy is, how it is going to help us. And I think I have one more suggestion is that we see that I won't compare the new education policy with the best education systems in the world like the Finland and the US, but I would say at least the base or the seeds are the same. What new education policy is trying to build up, it's quite bit same. It's like the base is quite bit same with the developed countries. So I think the teachers or the faculties, they must have they must be getting some awareness, some trainings, some inter exchange programs with the developed countries or with the developed universities and schools. So they can have a practical example and see how this system is beneficial, how it is working, and how to make it adaptive in our country for the good of our students.
Okay, so Shraddha, so you're basically saying that just making the policy, just legislating a policy is not enough. In fact,
Exactly.
there are not much institutional structure to actually back the national education policy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so from this we can understand at least that not only the legal measures, not only the legislative measures, but even the executive itself also has to undertake a very huge uh, a very huge responsibility in order to implement, make it a successful implementation of a nationwide policy like this. So even I also agree with you on this part. And then Shraddha, moving on, I must say that there are a lot of students who have inquired to us regarding the UG program, the new undergraduate program, which has been introduced according to the national education policy in the Cotton College. So the students are very much confused regarding the multiple entry and the exit option of the degree. So can you please elaborate our audience regarding what is the multiple entry and the exit option?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, because everywhere there's a confusion regarding this multiple entry and exit situation, which is going to happen with the new education policy. So I'll give you an example. My mother, she got married at the age of 21. At that time, she was doing her graduation, pursuing her graduation. So she just cleared her first level, like that, the first year of graduation. Then she got married off. She had children and everything. When her children grew up, like when we grew up, she wanted to join her college again. But when we inquired about it, what we got is that she will have to study or she will have to continue the education, like the graduation, right from the first year. She, although in the past she had completed, she had passed with very good marks during the first year, but she had to, like, if she joins a college, she'll have to carry it again from the first year. But now when we see the new education policy, that is the NEP, if my mother would have been at this stage after the implementation of NEP, she could have joined the college just with the second year. You got my point. Like that 1 year wouldn't be a loss for her, wouldn't be a lapse for her. So, for example, we see many students are there for some medical reasons or financial issues or whatever it may be the reason they couldn't continue their studies. So, with the new education policy, one can entry and exit at any time they want. And this there are like these are segregated. Like the first year of college is what we call a certificate course or certificate under the new education policy. So if you have just completed 1 year of our college and you couldn't complete the other 2 years, but still your education will be recognized as a certificate course. Again, the second year would be called as diploma. The third year would be you are a graduate, and the fourth year, if you like the master degree program, which in the traditional system is 3 plus 2, 3 years of graduation and plus 2 is for the masters, for the arts and commerce students, I'm saying. So, but after the NEP, if you complete your graduation within 3 years without any gap, you can complete your post graduation with additional 1 year. So it's 3 plus 1. So 4 years. It's like an integrated course. So this is the multiple entry and exit. Now you won't have to, your 1 year or 2 years of education won't be a loss for any student. They can start from the first year, and if any gap happens for any condition, they can continue at the same time from that. The credit will be counted again. So that's the
So
undergrad
basically,
situation. Yeah.
okay. So basically, you're saying that there would be no any kind of terms like dropouts. The dropouts
Yeah,
would be
exactly. There won't be a term
completely
called
useless,
dropouts.
right?
Yeah,
So that's a very good thing, because
actually.
if the colleges are introducing such a system, I think that no student should be devoid of education if they have some medical emergency, if they have some personal emergency. I feel that they should be given equal opportunity to
Yeah,
carry out their
yeah,
education in spite of any hurdles in the
exactly.
background. So if the government is supporting the system, I feel like it's a very good system.
Yeah, it's a very pragmatic approach, I mean.
Okay, it's a very good system in terms of not only in terms of the students, but also our mothers, our
Exactly,
elders, our grandparents,
exactly,
if they want to
exactly,
continue with
exactly,
their education. Okay. Okay, so
exactly.
Shraddha, that's a very good thing. If something like this has been introduced in a college like Cotton College, it will be very helpful for students from Assam and Northeast as well. Okay, Shraddha, I'm sure you know very that young kids today are very very savvy in technology. I
Yeah,
mean, now I have a mobile phone, even though, but I must, like, I should be. If I'm very very honest, I don't even know well the functions of it. I just know how to call, how to click pictures and all those. So I don't know about you, but this is with me. But recently, I've heard about a kid. His name is Cordelia Kataria.
yeah.
I don't know exactly what age he is right now, but I believe when he was at the age of 6, he actually developed a computer program. He became a coder at the age of 6, and probably at the age of 6, you and me must have been learning how to eat with our own hands, I'm sure. So I know that such kids are very very exceptional, but what do you think that such the technological integration that the national education policy is bringing is providing can become revolutionary for a lot of students, those who have that kind of a talent in them?
I think you have highlighted very important point of this NEP policy, because when you see the structure of the entire new education policy, you see the main objective of the government to to introduce it is to add the vocational, the technical, and by technical I mean technology, and what this like how the technology is developing these days. So the main objective of this NEP is to introduce skill based, vocational based, and technical education to children. So when we see the structure, it's like the 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 is like at the by the age of like 10 to 12, the kids will at least know how to code, And there is an introduction of mother tongue. English won't be mandatory till certain age, so that students can understand things well. And then skill based programs, after this policy, every kid may not be Kautilya. We have to, he's an exception, and maybe upon 100 we can just consider 10 kids to be, inherently very intellectual and that kind of talent. But at least with the NEP, all the students will know the basic skills. For example, in India, to assemble a furniture, we call a carpenter. We pay them for
Right.
for repairing our tap or this water tank. We call, or to even just to clean our water tank, we call helpers or somebody, some technical persons for that. But after the and at the same time, when we see the developed countries, all these activities, the people themselves they do. Like, we don't get house helps out there. We don't get such technical persons out there. All these jobs are done by them. And apart from it, if someone is a plumber out in the developed country, they have human life. They have a dignity. Their house helps, although the number of house helps and all these professions are quite less in those countries, but whatever they have a dignified work. They are not ashamed of confessing that, I work as a plumber, or I work as a house help part time. I can work as a waiter part time to, to sponsor my education or whatever like that. But in India, we see that we are not very proud of such professions or jobs. We feel very petty if we do that kind of work. But the new education policy is such a fantastically like customized that during until the kid will reach to class 11 and 12, at least they will know what their natural inherent talent is, what is their skill, what profession in the future they want to pursue. At least they will be self-aware. See the example of us. I mean, of course, I'll take my example. I belong to a family where everybody opted for science and maths. Everybody was topper, but I have always been an average student and never ever interested into maths and science. But I always used to have, like, make stories in my mind. I used to write a lot. I like talking to people. I wanted to connect it. Like to work for the community. But
Right.
never ever I have thought about it that this could be a profession, or this could equally be I can pursue these things as my profession. I never knew this. So ultimately I had to go to the traditional system and I had to study and get a job and work as a professional. So I think with this new education policy, every kid cannot be a quarterly or cannot be uh, a tech savvy, but at least they will be self-aware of what they want to be, what they like to be. And every profession will be dignified, and every profession will be recognized, which is very important for a country like India, where we mock such
Have
professions.
this very weird obsession with only engineering and medical
Exactly,
sciences. Yes,
exactly.
because people think that they offer jobs and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
other one. But somewhere I feel, if I also agree with this, and there is one thing that I would also like to add. See, this new policy will actually, it will not expect the fish to go and climb a tree actually.
exactly,
So
exactly,
somewhere or somehow we are expecting a change in the system, and the particular technological orientation that they are giving in this particular education, that I feel that is way better. Because you see, we have a lot of debates going on around chat gpt, that this is going to change, that this is going to replace human beings. But when a student is taught both the aspects of the human society and also the technology, he will actually know how to keep the balance going between the
yeah,
technology and the human society. So
yeah,
I believe that technology is made to keep human lives comfortable, but not to keep them out of jobs. So I feel, yes, I also agree with this on you. So moving forward, Shraddha, I recently I've gone through a lot of editorials and interviews, and one of that interview I came across the interview given by UGC chairman Jagdish Kumar, and he was saying that Indian universities are now trying to set up their Indian campuses offshore, and especially in countries like Gulf nations, in Africa, Thailand. Vietnam, and many countries have actually approached the Indian Institute of Technologies to set up their offshore campuses in their countries. So, how big of a development do you think this is, and what, according to you, is the future of Indian education system?
Yeah, I think this is a very good approach. And I would just like to highlight this that only not only the government universities has initiated it, but some private universities have already, they have already set up their campus offshores. But the enabling legislations are a bit complex, are yet to be developed for this sector. So it is going to take time. In fact, many IITs have requested the Middle Eastern countries to establish, a branch of it, and I think this is going to be very successful because now there will be inter-exchange education. That there can be a possibility of inter-exchange students. Our students can stay abroad and study
Yes,
there,
yes,
or their students can study in the university where they'll have an admixture of all kind of faculties and students. Make some
mm,
like as we know that in India we have like the cultures or the number of cultures and this we have
yes, yes,
the kind of
definitely.
people we have, yeah.
People
And
will be more aware of what
yeah,
our system is,
yeah,
our culture is.
not
So
just educationally but also
yes,
overall.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Okay, okay, Shraddha. So before concluding, do you have anything else to share with our audience?
Yeah, sure. I think to conclude this, I could just remember a thought which Swami Vivekanand once said. He said that every economy, every progressive economy or nation must have must have provide its must have provide the right to choose their vocation and the way they earn the money to its citizens. The student the citizens must have the right to choose their own vocation and the way to earn their money. So I think the new education policy totally stands up for this. So let's just hope that another decade is going to be a very modern and very customized education system.
Okay, so that was a very, very helpful quote, Shraddha. Thank you for quoting Swami Vivekananda here. And okay, so that was so well, dear students. This was Shraddha Jitani. She currently works as a subject matter expert in legal studies in Brahmaputra Professional Studies. So Shraddha, thank you for coming to our show and enlightening the students on the national education policy. We hope to work together in the future.
Thank you so much, China. It was
Okay, thank
lovely
you.
having you.
So, well, dear students, this was Shraddha, and this was our the highlight of today's discussion. Whatever we had to discuss as part of the national education policy. So, I hope you have enjoyed the show. You have understood whatever was talked about, and if you have your opinions, if you feel like there is something that we have missed on, if you want to add something on, please write it down on the comment section. And this ABC show, as I have already told, that it is an initiative by Brahmaputra Professional Studies to enlighten students regarding anything related to career, and which can enlighten you, which can empower you to the future. So please follow us, like us, subscribe us, because if you will like and subscribe to us, we will be motivated to bring more new videos like this. And thank you all for attending today's show. And we will meet you soon again with another live show with another new topic. And hope to see you all again in the another new episode of the ABC show. Till then, take care and all the best for your upcoming CUBT. Goodbye.